You've probably never animated before, or you have very little experience with it. Either you want to master the fundamentals of 2D animation or simply amp up your current animation skills. You've decided to pursue 2D animation because you have goals of your own, and that's totally fine. I want you guys to imagine taking an animation class right now. Your mentor walks in. Your animation mentor shows you all the tools and mediums you can use to animate. Your mentor tells you that certain tools will allow you to draw, erase, and color your work. Pressing certain buttons will allow you to add more frames and drawings with your animation. Your mentor will tell you that flipping certain switches will activate a light box, and that will allow you to see previous drawings and the ones after the current one you're on. You'll be shown how to flip between the drawings so you can see how they relate to one another. By pressing a certain play button, you'll be able to preview your animation in full speed. You'll even be introduced to tools that you'll probably never need in your life. But it's nice to know it's there. That's all your animation mentor will show you for now. In fact, the next thing your mentor will tell you to do is to animate a stickman, a character. At this point, you're probably thinking that this mentor hasn't taught you the basics, the mechanics, and the fundamentals of character animation. However, you now know how to use the program, the tools, and the medium for animation. So let's have our stickman move around the stage. Let's turn on our light table so we can track our previous drawings. I'm going to draw our stickman going from one place to another, one drawing at a time. If we play it, our stickman clearly moves. Now, what if I change the timing of each drawing differently so it gives off a different feeling? Some parts feel slower and some parts just zip by. I just showed you guys how easy it is to make a moving picture. It's not a perfect animation test, but it's animation. Alright, so we've experimented with our stickman moving around, but how can we experiment with it so we can actually be more detailed, more descriptive in our animation? What else could we make him do that best describes the action more than just saying what the action is? We could have our character jump from one spot to another. Better yet, we can give him acting. We have him bend, leap, and land, and then bend his knees and then go back to normal. We're told to have our stickman run. Maybe the first time we animate our running, it's going to somewhat bear a resemblance of running, but if we did another pass, what if we made it more clear with exaggerated poses? We could have two stickmen fight, but if we experimented with it further, we could have them exchange martial arts style blows, make it more specific. Instead of doing your animation one frame after the other, what if you drew your main poses first and then drew the drawings that connect to those poses, the in-betweens? Maybe you want to give your stickman actual mass, and maybe try adding volume and maybe maintaining it. Your character could swing a hammer, but wouldn't it be nice to try another take where you're trying to showcase weight? Maybe play around with acting, making the weight of the hammer drag him around. Now, by the sheer experimentation and the retakes of a single action, you'll realize that you're basically discovering animation fundamentals on your own. You may not know it, but you're discovering things like squash and stretch, acting, spacing, solid drawing, and perhaps other principles of animation. And guess what? It's all done by yourself. Eventually, maybe you'll want to tackle more complicated subjects. Maybe you'll be animating full characters with detailed acting and complex action. It's all up to you from here. The thing I want to get across here is that anyone can learn how to do hand-drawn animation. You can take as many classes as you want, read many books, and do many tutorials, but that means nothing if you're not going to do a lot of the self-discovery of your own. You can learn all the rules, the techniques, and the theories within animation, but what's the point of having that creativity if you're going to surround yourself with all these rules? The world of hand-drawn animation is vast. First of all, figure out what kind of hand-drawn animation style you'd like to do. If you want to maintain that hand-drawn Disney style of classical animation, look at the 9 Old Men, Max Fleischer, and study classical animation. If you're into the anime style, look at the Japanese animation and the Sakuga style. If you want something that's more simplified and limited, look at UPA and study how they dealt with graphical elements and limited drawings. Study your inspirations. Better yet, try all of them so you get a grain of salt from each of those styles. Second, find peers that will help you guide you to those styles. Third, just do it. Before some 9 Old Men made a guide and rulebook to animation, cartoonists like Winsor McCay have been experimenting with lifelike character animation back in the 1910s. And this was way before a guide or rulebook was made on how to create believable animation. If you see his earlier tests, especially with Little Nemo, you'll actually get a glimpse of some of those animation principles before they were even written. There's solid drawing. He experimented with squash and stretch. There's arcs, there's spacing. Everything's drawn frame by frame. The thing is, he knew what film was and he was a cartoonist, so he took the initiative to make something of his own. And guess what? He discovered a lot. So guys, there's no secret to this. You just have to start somewhere in order to get good at something. Remember, execution is everything, and it's how you decide to take your own education. In fact, all the tutorials cost only 25% of your whole education. The rest of it is all up to you. It's you actually doing it. What I'll share and show with you guys are things that have helped me in my path. So with that in mind, there may be things that you'll have to find on your own that I can't offer myself. And that's okay, because I want you guys to form your own path. After I've shared many of my tools, you guys can find your own. Stay inspired and happy animating. Always remember to have fun.